She walked in, confident, stylish, and ready to pitch her million-dollar idea. But the man she humiliated outside the building, that homeless nobody, was a billionaire CEO. What happens when power wears rags and pride wears a blindfold? Grab a seat, take a deep breath, and let's unravel this story of pride, power, and a twist no one saw coming. It was a bright morning in Lagos, the kind that promises new beginnings and endless possibilities. Sunlight streamed between the city's glass towers as Isabel's sleek black Mercedes-Benz cut through traffic on the streets of Lagos. Her heart beat with a calm intensity. Today's deal at Williams' fashion house wasn't just another transaction. It was a defining moment, one that could seal her reputation and crown her the undisputed queen of the nation's beauty industry. At 35, Isabel was everything she had dreamed of becoming. Self-made, powerful, and utterly convinced she had earned her place among Lagos royalty. 3 beauty salons bore her name like branded jewels across the city. Her reflection in the car's tinted windows showed a woman who had clawed her way from the red dust of Enugu to the marble floors of Lekki Phase 1. But success had hardened her heart, like palm wine left too long in the sun. As Isabel walked toward the main entrance of Williams' fashion house, her designer heels clicked confidently against the polished marble floor. She felt invincible. But then, something made her stop. Sitting against the spotless glass wall was a man who didn't belong in a place like this, a place built for power, money, and success. He looked completely out of place in this shiny world. His clothes were torn, and he held a small cup with just a few naira inside. A cardboard sign rested on his lap. The shaky letters read, "Please help. I haven't eaten in days." Isabel's first feeling was annoyance. How did security let this man stay here? This was meant to be one of the most exclusive business areas in Lagos. Seeing poverty right in front of her on such an important day felt like a bad sign, one she didn't want to think about. As she walked toward the building's entrance, the homeless man looked up with tired, hopeful eyes. "Madam, please," he said softly. His voice was weak, full of pain. "Just small money for food. I haven't eaten in 2 days." Isabel stopped, but not because she felt sorry for him. She looked down at him with clear irritation. "Do you think this is the right place to beg?" she said sharply. Her voice was cold, firm, used to giving orders and being obeyed. "This is a place for serious people, working hard to build something. Not for wasting life sitting on the streets." Instead of compassion, Isabella felt only rage. Here she was, minutes away from securing the biggest deal of her career, and this relic of failure was polluting her sacred space. "What is wrong with you?" she snapped, her voice cutting through the morning air like a blade. "Look at yourself, sitting here like a common street rat while serious people are trying to build their lives." The elderly man's eyes widened, not with anger, but with the deep hurt of someone kicked while already down. "Madam, I am not lazy. I lost my job when—" "I don't want to hear your pathetic excuses." Isabella's voice rose, drawing stares from passers-by. "You know what your problem is? You've given up on life. Instead of sitting here with your hands stretched out like a beggar, why don't you go find work? Clean toilets, sweep streets, carry loads. Do something useful with your miserable existence." A small crowd began to form, smartphones appearing from pockets and purses. Isabella felt emboldened by the audience, her ego feeding on their attention like a fire consuming dry grass. "Look at this building behind me," she continued, gesturing grandly at the gleaming tower. "This represents everything you will never achieve: success, ambition, the rewards of hard work. People inside here earned their place through blood, sweat, and tears. They didn't sit on filthy cardboard, begging for handouts. The old man's head bowed lower with each word, but Isabella's poison had found its target. All her own insecurities, all her fears of returning to poverty, focused into a laser of cruelty. "You are the reason Nigeria remains backward," she declared, her voice dripping with venom. "Too many people like you want something for nothing. You choose to be a victim instead of taking control of your destiny. My grandmother used to say, 'The fly that follows the corpse ends up in the grave.' And that's exactly what you're doing, following failure instead of chasing success." The old man tried to speak, but Isabella's final blow came swift and brutal. Without warning, she raised her hand and brought it down across his face with the force of all her self-hatred and fear. The sound echoed across the plaza like a gunshot. The old man's weathered cheek bore the bright red mark of her palm, tears mixing with the dust on his face. "Maybe that will wake you up to reality," Isabella said coldly, adjusting her designer handbag. "Stop being a burden on society and start being a solution." As she walked toward the building's entrance, the old man held his stinging cheek, silent tears carving tracks through the dust on his weathered face. The crowd watched in horrified silence, several phones still recording the moment that would soon change everything. Inside the Williams fashion house, the air conditioning embraced Isabella like a lover, washing away the heat and tension of the street encounter. The marble lobby gleamed like polished obsidian, and the sound of her heels announced her arrival with authority. She felt intoxicated by the confrontation. Sometimes people needed harsh truths to change their lives. She had done that old man a favor, given him the wake-up call he needed to stop wallowing in self-pity. Chief Bennett Williams's office occupied the entire top floor, its floor-to-ceiling windows offering a commanding view of Lagos's sprawling metropolis. The man himself stood silhouetted against the cityscape, tall, distinguished, with silver hair that spoke of wisdom earned through decades of empire building. "Miss Isabel," he said, turning with a smile that seemed to light up the room. "I've been looking forward to this meeting. Your reputation precedes you." Isabella's confidence soared. "Thank you, Mr. Williams. I've worked very hard to get where I am today. I believe in earning success through dedication and refusing to accept anything less than excellence." For the next hour, they discussed partnerships, market expansion, and the future of fashion in West Africa. Isabella outlined her vision for connecting his fashion empire with her network of beauty salons. Her ideas were sharp, innovative, and profitable. "Impressive," Williams said, leaning back in his leather chair. "You clearly understand the Lagos market. Your success speaks volumes about your business acumen." Isabella glowed under his praise like a peacock, displaying its feathers. "I've learned that success requires tough decisions and an unwavering commitment to excellence. Sometimes we must separate ourselves from distractions that prevent us from reaching our full potential." "Character is indeed important in business," Williams replied, his tone turning thoughtful. "How we treat people, especially those who can't offer us anything in return, reveals our true nature. In the end, success means little if it comes at the cost of our humanity." Isabella nodded, though the deeper meaning of his words sailed over her head like a bird she couldn't catch. She was too intoxicated by the scent of success to pause for reflection. "I'll make my decision within 24 hours, Williams said, rising to shake her hand. "I just need to consult with my team about the final details." As Isabella left the building, she felt like she was floating on clouds of silk. The partnership was practically guaranteed. She had impressed one of Nigeria's most powerful businessmen, and her future gleamed brighter than the Lagos skyline. The entrance where the old beggar had sat was now empty, probably cleaned up by security. Good. The area looked more professional without such unsightly distractions. Isabella woke the next morning to golden sunlight streaming through her penthouse windows. She had dreamed of expansion, of her name in lights, of recognition as one of Nigeria's top entrepreneurs. The partnership with Williams would be her crowning achievement. She prepared her finest breakfast, imported coffee, French croissants, exotic fruits arranged like artwork. Everything in her life reflected success, from her Italian marble countertops to her designer furniture that cost more than most people's annual salaries. When her phone rang at precisely 10 a.m., she answered with barely contained excitement. "Miss Isabel, this is Peterson Williams. Mr. Williams, I've been eagerly awaiting your call. I'm ready to move forward with... I'm calling to inform you that I won't be proceeding with the partnership." The words struck Isabella like a physical blow. Her coffee cup slipped from her fingers, shattering against the marble floor in a symphony of destruction, the sound eerily echoing the slap from the day before. "What? But sir, yesterday you seemed so pleased with my presentation. What changed?" "I saw who you really are, Miss Isabel. There's a video circulating on social media that shows your true character. Hundreds of thousands of people have witnessed your cruelty." Isabella's world tilted on its axis. "A video? But Mr. Williams, you don't understand. I was trying to motivate that man." "Let me tell you about the man you humiliated," Williams interrupted, his voice cold as Lego's harmattan. "His name is Chief Marcus Thompson. Until 18 months ago, he was the CEO of Thompson Industries, one of Nigeria's most successful manufacturing companies." The room began to spin around Isabella. "I don't understand." Chief Marcus built his empire from nothing over 25 years. He employed over 2,000 people and was renowned throughout West Africa for his philanthropy. He built schools in rural communities, provided scholarships for underprivileged students, and helped countless young entrepreneurs start their businesses. Isabella's legs gave way, and she sank into her leather chair. But he was begging on the street. Chief Marcus was destroyed by his business partner, David Okafor, who systematically embezzled millions from their company. When Marcus discovered the theft, David used forged documents to frame him for the crimes. Chief Marcus lost everything: his company, his mansion in Banana Island, his life savings, while fighting a legal battle to clear his name. Isabella's world crumbled like a house of cards in a hurricane. She had not only attacked a successful businessman, she had assaulted the best friend of the man whose approval she desperately sought. "I cannot work with someone who shows such cruelty to another human being," Williams continued. "Success without character is like a tree without roots. It will eventually fall. As our elders say, when the roots of a tree begin to decay, it spreads death to the branches. Your roots, Miss Isabel, need serious attention." The line went dead, leaving Isabella staring at her phone in the sudden silence of her shattered dreams. Within hours, Isabella's world became a hurricane of consequences. The video had been viewed over 2 million times. Her phone rang constantly with reporters seeking interviews, business partners canceling deals, and employees asking if the woman in the viral video was really their boss. The comments section became a brutal mirror of public opinion. "This is Mr. Marcus Thompson. He helped my family when we had nothing. Marcus gave my brother a job when no one else would hire him. I remember when Mr. Thompson donated computers to our school." She remembered her own family's struggles, her father driving taxi 16 hours a day to pay school fees, her mother selling vegetables in the rain to buy textbooks. When had she forgotten that she too had once been vulnerable? That night, Isabella researched Marcus Thompson. The story that emerged was like a mirror held up to her soul, showing her everything she wasn't but claimed to be. Marcus had been born to subsistence farmers in Kano State. His father had died when he was 12, leaving him to help his mother raise 6 younger siblings. He had worked as a mechanic while attending night school, saving every naira to start his own business. Thompson Industries had begun in a small warehouse in Ikeja, with Marcus as the only employee. Over 25 years, he had built it into a manufacturing giant that employed thousands and contributed millions to Nigeria's economy. But more than business success, Marcus had never forgotten his roots. He had built schools, provided clean water to rural communities, and created scholarship programs that sent hundreds of children to university. Isabella found Marcus at Lagos General Hospital, looking even more fragile than before. Beside him sat a young woman, his daughter Jennifer, whose eyes flashed with fury when she saw Isabella. "You!" Jennifer stood up, her voice shaking with rage. "How dare you show your face here?" Marcus stirred, his eyes focusing on Isabella. But instead of anger, she saw only profound sadness. "Why?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. "Why did you hate me when you didn't even know me?" Isabella collapsed beside his bed, tears flowing like a river breaking through a dam. "I didn't hate you, sir. I was terrified. I saw in you everything I was running from, and I tried to destroy it instead of facing it." Marcus studied her face, then slowly reached out his trembling hand. "My daughter," he said gently, "I forgive you. But you must forgive yourself and learn from this pain. The wound that teaches is worth more than the victory that inflates." Over the following months, Isabella transformed her life. She sold her Mercedes, her designer jewelry, and her penthouse to hire lawyers and investigators. She worked in homeless shelters, not for publicity, but to understand the people she had once scorned. The investigation uncovered massive fraud by David, who had stolen over 2 billion naira. Chief Marcus was cleared of all charges, and Thompson Industries was restored to him. But Marcus had changed too. He transformed his company into a beacon of hope, hiring the long-term unemployed and providing support for fraud victims. Together, Marcus and Isabella founded Second Chances Nigeria, helping thousands find employment and rebuild their lives. The viral video that had once brought shame was now displayed in their lobby, not as a reminder of failure, but as a testament to transformation. Beneath it, a plaque bore Marcus's favorite proverb: "The wound that teaches is worth more than the victory that inflates." 2 years after that fateful morning, Isabella stood at the same corner outside Williams' fashion house, but this time, she wasn't alone. Beside her stood Chief Marcus Thompson, healthy and dignified, and dozens of people whose lives had been transformed by their work together. They were unveiling a plaque that designated this corner as the Mentorship Corner, a place where business leaders would come weekly to connect with job seekers, not with judgment, but with hope. "This is where it all began," Marcus said softly, his voice carrying the wisdom of someone who had been broken and rebuilt. "This is where we both learned that success without character is meaningless." Isabella nodded, looking at her reflection in the building's glass facade. But instead of the cold, ambitious woman who had stood here 2 years ago, she saw someone who had learned the hardest lesson of all: that true power comes not from what you take, but from what you give. A group of children from Marcus's scholarship program took turns reading from the plaque's inscription. "Here, 2 souls learned that the person you look down on today might be the very one who lifts you up tomorrow. But more importantly, they learned that we rise by lifting others, not by stepping on them." As the crowd applauded, Isabella and Chief Marcus shook hands, not as former enemies, but as partners in the greatest business of all, the business of human dignity. The slap that had echoed with cruelty had become the sound that awakened two souls to their true purpose. In that awakening, they found not just redemption, but the profound joy that comes from using our scars to heal others' wounds. Success without character is like a tree without roots. It will eventually fall. The person you look down on today might be the very one who lifts you up tomorrow. If this story touched your heart, please share it with your loved one and let us know where you're watching from. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.